How do you guys stay consistent with keeping your characters fresh heading into the season?
How do we keep our characters fresh heading into season 77?
Well, we dip ourselves in oil, breadcrumbs, and then we go to a new location, as we've done with Dead City. We have stories that make us reveal parts of the character that we haven't gotten to explore. We come into conflict with new characters, and I think in general just try to keep each other honest. And if it's emotionally resonant, then that's fresh to me, for as a viewer and as an actor and as a human. We're humans. I hate to break the news.
Barely. But
yeah. How do you guys keep it fresh?
I think it's like, how do I deal with the thing I didn't ever expect to happen? Do you know what I mean? I think that keeps it fresh.
Like an apocalypse?
Like an apocalypse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it helps working with new actors as well. Bringing in Gaius and Željko has allowed us. It's not an established relationship that the characters have that Maggie and Negan have, and so I think
that's you.
I owe everybody a beer.
On the phone.
God, I was like, who's that tacky person? It's always me. But in the circumstances we find ourselves in this year, I think are different than when we were in last year. But I had a lot of fun, I know, working with these two gentlemen. I always have fun with Lauren, but I think Željko in particular, I think, brings out something in Negan that we've never seen before. Being that they have this past that we get to explore. So, that's how. Željko?
Ditto. No, it's a new story, and we were in a new place, and all these relationships after every season get shaken up and turn around, and you find yourself with the same people in a very different set of circumstances, and that always keeps it fresh and new.
So we all expect your two characters to have that dichotomy of back and forth, villain, hero, villain. When you two prepare for a scene together, how much are you already anticipating the future swap of relationship as the script is developing?
I think I'll speak for me first.
No, go ahead. You can speak for both of us.
As you started to ask your question, I was just like thinking how lucky we are, because when we, sometimes we're in concert with other people and then we finally get to be together, and there's so much that like nothing but history can give you. And so knowing where things might go and like knowing what the whole story might be is irrelevant in the moment, because we really get to just be together in a moment, in an episode, in a scene. And it helps to stay present, because we shot 8 episodes out of order this year, and it was really challenging at times. It was great because it makes it easier to sort of stretch the budget you have for the year, but it was something to keep track of. And then at each thing, you just have to keep coming back to the touchstone of like, what do we know right now? And then you just go together and see what wants to happen in the scene, and that's the beauty of the whole game of acting. But yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, I think, to fill in, and I think that Maggie and Negan, because of the last 8 years and show years, it's even more than that. Obviously, there's a relationship that's established that the audience all knows about. So I think that we go into scenes and it's like, how can we turn this in a way that not only makes it something different for the audience, because I think people have seen us play a couple scenes the same way over the years, and so I think it's about trying to find that new bit. And I think as time goes and this relationship continues, does that add a comfort, or does it add more strain? And I think finding that, and we do a lot of discussing about where we'd like to see these scenes go, and hopefully it would fall in line with what the audience wants to see as well. Because we have fun. I mean, we always have had a good time working together, regardless of how harsh or how difficult it may be. So this year, I think was interesting. That's what I can tell you. We're not allowed to really say anything at these things, which is always very fun. It makes it great to do a press conference. But I think we had a really fun year as far as doing new stuff with the two characters.
And they know each other. It's like when you call BS on someone you really know, and that's kind of what.
A lot of
Maggie and
history.
Negan have known each other longer than anybody else alive now. You know what I mean? Aside from within Dead City, at least. I mean, Daryl and Carol.
Besides Daryl and Carol, yeah.
Daryl and Carol. Denai and Andy. Daryl and Carol get their character names. Denai and Andy are Denai and Andy.
Yeah.
In this moment. But yeah. Who's next?
Talking about when the show first came out, we talked about the move from story to New York, and that was like people as actors and characters. What's it like moving forward? Different energy, different locations, different.
Yeah, we're in Boston this year. Yeah, and it definitely afforded us a lot more space. It's very expensive and difficult to shoot in New York City, as probably everybody knows.
It's hard to shut down the street and make it look apocalyptic in the daytime in New York. Oddly enough, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, that's fun.
I was just curious for Željko, you guys coming into this iconic franchise as not just joining the show but also with established actors. What was that like for you guys? Was it daunting at all, or was it just another day at work?
I don't know. I think it was a lot of fun. I mean, for me, I felt like, I really joined the show when I got to kill my first walker. That was like really dope.
It was at lunch. It was cool because that was the first part of the research, was to track that relationship back and go through the whole Walking Dead story, basically to figure out what is that relationship and to figure out him, since that's my idol. So there's just an awful lot you get to build on that's been established, and then figure out where does it go from here. But it in some ways it makes it easier because you have so much more information. You got the script, but you also have a whole history, and that was a great thing to have.
So not daunting?
Not at all.
Real quick question. I'm not sure if Scott's going to put the plug in it, but for Herschel, this season, do you think, I'm pulling on a little bit of thread, maybe some Stockholm syndrome or some other aspects where it might have some sympathy towards his captors?
It's a really, that part of the storyline has been really complex and real and sad, and we get to unpack all of this, but mostly because he's a teenage boy and it is his responsibility to not do what's best for himself. No, just kidding. No, it is his responsibility. It is basically just, it comes with the territory that there's going to be a push and pull between he and I think that's what makes the season really relatable for me, is we've all been teenagers and we've all known that nothing our parents say or do can ever be right, and the rub for Maggie is that the influences that aren't her, and she's not a perfect parent either, but the influences that aren't her are particularly dire, and the people that he came in contact with in season 1 are going to have a lot of influence on him, and I think it will make parents say, you always want to protect your child from danger, and the danger here is maybe a little more potent than, or not, because the dangers of social media and the dangers of mental illness for children is potent. So I like the fact that we do this on the scale of the apocalypse, but it's issues that are, close to the heart. Yeah.
I like that you sort of categorize me as sort of a Soviet Hamlet.
No.
We won't be talking about that.
You haven't gone. Yeah.
Jeffrey, Lauren, you have lived with your characters for so long, a number of years. Living with these characters who are constantly in motion, can you tell us anything that you might have learned about yourself when portraying these characters? Or better yet, what are some of the takeaways that you carry with you outside after portraying them?
I think perseverance and continuing to look for the challenge has been a big takeaway for me from being on a show for an amount of time, that you could rest on your laurels or not look for a challenge within yourself as a performer or as a teammate or anything. When I think about one thing about Maggie is that I do find myself to be very different from her in many ways, and I'm always looking for ways that I'm similar. But I mean, knowing the best way to swing a hammer, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just how to face your own. Just things that I think we in this world have more of a luxury to do is self-reflection, and there will be more of that in our show. And so I guess it's just art informing life, informing art. But yeah, what do you think, Jeff?
I think I learned how to swing a baseball bat. You know, I think after all the years of playing one character, it's the amount of growth that I think that Negan's had, the different sides of Negan that we've been able to show. And I don't know, the only similarity there is that I hope that I grow as a human being as well, but in different ways than probably Negan. But it has been interesting to track him from when he first came out of the trailer in the clearing to where he is this season. It has been really an interesting. There has been a lot of a roller coaster ride for Negan, and I think it really is kind of coming to a head this year. I mean, I don't think he's done growing at this point, but some stuff that we've never seen Negan do, we will see this year. Some stuff that I think it will shock people. And yet there's always that old Negan that is still in there, which is, I think, the really interesting and fun, that he doesn't lose track ever of who he is and where he came from. Yeah, there you go.
New York City has a reputation. Me and Dirk kind of saw that. I'm more disgusted than we want to see.
Eli came up with some stuff.
He's a twisted individual.
Yeah. I will say this, which is totally subverting a question.
You?
There are some places that we show in New York. There's one set we live on quite a bit that just blew me away. It was not filthy. In fact, it was probably the opposite of that. There were some disgusting things that happened within there, as was Walking Dead. But I was blown away by the world that was built, by the sets that were built, and also by the locations that we had, which is something that Boston gave us. Don't worry, there will be moments where you're going to want to throw up. But there really are some moments, I think, where the audience is going to be like, wow, how did they get into that place? Or how did they make that place? The world gets filled out that way.
Another cool thing that's somewhat disgusting and not specific to New York but to our show is that we know we make methane through the use of dead walkers, and we have some fun insight into the process.
Yeah, there's almost a recipe that should. It's almost like a YouTube video where it's like, hey, let's make methane, guys.
How to, step by step. Yeah.
You guys were talking about how the physical challenges of filming in Apocalypse in New York, and we heard that you guys were filming in Worcester, Massachusetts, which has areas that already looks like an apocalypse ran through. Was it both physical and the aesthetic of Worcester that inspired booking?
Yeah, it wasn't just Worcester. We were in Worcester, Lowell, and Taunton, as well as in Randolph. We had our stages, and our production designers were able to create incredible things. But we did find some great abandoned areas that, I mean, as soon as we went on the scout and saw it, had us about 80% of the way there, and then we found this incredible cathedral that was not actually insanely run down, but was abandoned to the extent that we could move in, and then we were sailing. It was just it made the choice really, really easy. But yeah, we did find some amazing abandoned places that were.
To answer your question, yes, on Whistler. Yeah. Parts of it we didn't have to do a lot to, and they were very generous with where we could shoot, and it was great. It was great.
Both happy you didn't have to learn French?
No. I would have learned French.
I'm itching to learn some French.
Look,
You guys,
I had to learn a Boston accent.
you both come from straight cinema and so forth. I know, Jeffrey, you were on The Good Wife and so forth.
Yeah.
And then when you transition to the Walking Dead series, you saw your faces on the trading cards and action figures. Was that weird for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had been in the kind of the comic book world for a little bit. I had done, Watchmen and the Losers, so I had done some stuff. But Walking Dead, when I came in season 6 was, it was a whole nother world. I mean, it was huge, and I don't think there's any way to kind of prepare yourself for Funko Pops, and there just isn't. Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. It still is. I still, see stuff, and I'm like, here or San Diego, and you see people dressed as our characters, or any number of toys and action figures. It's always a lot, in a good way.
Never gets old.
Never gets old.
It's exciting.
I have a question on that. How do you guys feel about gifts?
Gifts?
Yeah,
Like fan gifts?
memes and gifts and stuff.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. Like, I mean, there's so many. Like, has anybody asked Steve Carell? He's like 15 million gifts. Like, how do you feel about
gifts?
Like
gifts.
Memes
How do
and
you feel about
gifts and
gifts?
stuff. Yeah.
No.
Gifts.
I think anything spoofy or funny is great, especially because our show is so dark. Like I remember when we first did I didn't do them. When the Bad Lip readings first came out.
Oh yeah,
It
that's
was
old school.
My kid loves
so
them.
fun.
Yeah. Do you guys even know about those things?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Acting like an old man. It was on TV.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you said gifts, so I was really confused.
Presents.
I mean,
There's an
well,
old
Stephen
man.
Ruff is like the correct pronunciation. Apparently, it's GIF. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
What surprised you most was the more direction chair, and what was the most challenging part about the
Oh. What was the first part?
It surprised me. I gotta tell you, I mean, Lauren's been working towards this for like years. Like you shadowed on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So, like, Lauren is incredibly hardworking. Actors often make incredible directors, and just Lauren had all the ingredients. You know what? Actually, I'll tell you what surprised me. It is really cool to be a director. It is really brutal, especially in television. And the amount that Lauren loved it top to bottom, like loved every part of it. I was like, man, I don't think I ever asked you this, but like, man, some of it had to be rough, but yeah, she loved every part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I loved it. The hardest part was the action days when I was directing myself and then down regulating to remember technically everything that I wanted to do, purely for the fact that to do these action scenes, we know when we're performing like how much adrenaline is required, but it's okay because you get to just kind of get in it and stay in it. And then the hat switch then was when I felt it most acutely. The easiest part was that if you do the prep and you get ready ahead of time, you're on set and you're just having the best freaking time. And I was like, with this guy, and with this guy. It was like a dream. It was honestly like a dream. It was just, we understood what we were doing. We have a shorthand.
She
and
gives
then you
good notes.
communicate an idea, and it was so much fun. Yeah.
And it's a terrific episode. I mean, it's a terrific. First-time directors generally don't turn in cuts like Lauren did. And even, first-time director turn in a cut and he's like, oh, this needs work or this or that, and it's totally understandable. This was a great cut. But it just came from all the work and the years and years and years that she's been doing this. She just had a head start. And it showed.
I know you guys are limited on what you can say, but for each of you, are there moments for your characters in the new season you're excited for fans to see? That you can make
I think I'm excited for fans to see the season. I mean, there's such depth that both Jeffrey and I get to go to with our characters, and then there's such depth that we get to all explore together. And we are so lucky to have the cast that we have. We've done this show for a long time, and sometimes it didn't feel like we were in the show at all because we just had great story, amazing support, amazing whole production team, and then we got to play. And Željko and Gaius and Dascha, who's going to be on the panel with us, Dascha Polanco, and Mina and Logan and everybody, and Lisa Emery. It's just been. I'm on a love fest. I forgot your question, but that's what I wanted to say.
Individual characters you're excited about that you can share.
Oh, we can share?
Yeah.
Or you can't share. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I just talked so much. What are you
I think
guys?
the premiere, there's just so. The premiere is like a big budget spectacle with fire and explosions and reading the script, I'm thinking, okay, well that's going to be CGI and that's going to be this and that's going to be that, and then they bring out the cannons, bring out the fire rods, and so I'm excited for the audience to see that.
I think in this season that there's so many high highs for people and low lows for people that, can't get into the specifics of it, but to get to do that range within the season and sometimes within the episode, it's just really fun to act and I hope really fun to watch.
All right, I think this is going to be last question.
I've had a couple questions.
Have you got?
She hasn't gone yet.
Yeah, I'm really
Okay.
Did you ever have a moment when you filmed scene where Glenn would be there? And what is it about these that draws people? Do they need each other?
I think that couldn't have imagined it, and that's a great thing. And I think there's something that is a shared, there's something that has gotten to be revealed over the course of all this time that is a shared value system that they both have. And I think that that's really interesting when there are people that can so much dislike aspects of each other and have gone through the challenges they have, but to come to where we are in season 2 of Dead City and where we really get to by the end of season 2 is this recognition that despite things we've employed to survive, that there's the potential for growth and that there's a lot more in common than we would know, and I love exploring that because wouldn't that be a nice thing to realize in general in the world now? And but I think the thing that draws, I think there's just something, and the other thing I noticed earlier is just we have now known each other all this time, and there's something in that, there's a reflection in it. No, I definitely didn't imagine that. There's a reflection of each other in it. And
I think at this point, after so many years together, and especially the last couple years, though they would never admit it, I think there's a respect and a weird trust that they have. I think if Negan if he's in big trouble, I think that he thinks that Maggie may come through for him. And that's odd considering, how they met, and the hatred that's always been there. But even in that hatred, there's a lot of shared shit that has led, I think, them to have a certain amount of respect for each other, though I don't know that they'd ever voice that.
There is also like there's something Negan can give Maggie and something Maggie can give Negan that is, I think, there's a forgiveness and there's a recognition in each other that's, I don't know, that sort of kept them
Connected.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can be apart. As fucked up as it is.
The odd couple. Yeah.
All right, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your
I'm in charge of this phone.